Okay.
So I am here with Natalie Mendoza, and she just is going to give us a little introduction on how life is in Germany and how COVID has affected her and her situation.
Okay. So I'm Natalie Mendoza. I'm from California and I now live in Germany. And it's a bit different here. There's 16 states as well. So it's not just one big thing. So each state kind of decides what they want to do, even though it's like a whole government thing. So the whole country is on lockdown, but
Oh,
it just kind of staggered out. And some states are worse than others.
okay.
So I remember in the beginning, they were saying like travel advisory areas were Italy, China, and one of the other states.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say I'm in Bavaria, so
Wow.
Bayern,
Okay.
and it's not so bad at the moment. So they're reopening things, which is kind of scary. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I was supposed to take a class at like a university
Mm-hmm.
for German, but it got canceled. So
Oh,
unfortunately, I have to put off my studies for another year.
a whole year? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
because I need a certain level of German, and I
Mm-hmm.
technically have it, but I'm not confident enough to take the exam.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to wait another year for my studies. So in some cases, like mine, it's pretty extreme, but most people, they're just online or like the elementary and the other schools,
Mm-hmm.
like to high school, are doing classes like slowly phasing in the
Oh,
students.
interesting. So do you think that
Yeah.
that's going to continue for another year or two?
I think they're starting to do things pretty quick, which I'm kind of scared about.
Mm-hmm.
So they're opening businesses again, and I live near a really big mall, and they're opening finally like the little restaurants to get takeout and stuff.
So they're not opening the whole thing. They're just kind of doing it in stages.
Yeah. And so also we have to have masks. Everyone has to have a mask on outside and in like stores and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's not so bad. And we have to be like, I think 6 feet apart and everything, but we can finally start meeting up with people outside of our household.
Well, that's nice. So you
Yeah.
can actually go out.
Yeah, and I had a doctor's appointment today, and I was lucky that my boyfriend's mom could take me to the appointment, but they were very confused why I had her at first. So they were like, is this even allowed? Even though they told me. And yeah, so it's getting back to normal, which is kind of scary to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I understand. I went out to take my dog to the park and I was all geared up because I usually
Yeah,
walk her a lot, but I haven't been able to. I'm still getting up to being able to physically exercise. I'm not at that point yet.
yeah.
And so I took her to the park just to have a run, and there were so many people out. And then
Oh,
there were people in the dog park. I didn't even go to the dog park because I wanted to isolate myself.
yeah,
And they were right up next to each other. And then I'm coming home and I'm driving past a park, and there's like 15 people all gathered
oh,
around, not wearing masks. And I'm like,
yeah. It's
I don't, yeah, it's
it's
scary.
yeah, it's not ideal. And here they have a fine, so 150 euros per person not wearing a mask
Oh,
in a
wow.
store or in the mall.
Oh,
So
that's kind of nice though. So that way I didn't
yeah,
kind of forces people to do it.
yeah, but it's kind of backfiring in a way. I was in a grocery store the other day, and it's pretty big. It's kind of like a Walmart kind of thing,
Hmm.
but you have to be separate, of course, 6 feet apart. And it was just like for yards and yards, there was just a line of people. So here it's not organized very well. But yeah, if I feel like in California they're doing a lot better than here.
Yeah, in certain areas and certain counties, I think are doing better. Like Santa Cruz County and Monterey County have really started enforcing like everyone has to wear face masks. Same in Santa Clara and Mateo, all the other in the Bay Area, all those counties seem you have to wear face coverings. You can get a fine, but no one seems to be enforcing it.
Yeah.
The only thing that they're enforcing is not going to the beach and having beach gatherings. So they're
Yeah.
giving out $1,000 fines for that. But
Oh, that's good. But the masks thing too, that's kind of scary. I like that because it feels more secure,
mm-hmm.
but at the same time, people are still cramming into things, and it's not very good. And I mean, there was an IKEA somewhere here in Germany,
Mm-hmm.
and they were finally letting people back in, and just around the parking lot, people were just crammed into each other. So in a way, they're opening things way too soon, I think.
Well, yeah, because if they don't have any mitigation, any way to stop people from doing that, then it's just going to
Yeah,
spread. And then they're
yeah,
going to have to go back to lockdown.
yeah. I'm worried a second wave will come. I mean, I always say this is too soon, and then in September, I'd say it's too soon. But there could be a second wave anytime.
Yeah.
So, but I feel not so confident with how it is here. But I'm hoping the government knows what they're doing.
How
So,
about in other parts of Germany? Is it different?
I know Bavaria is probably one of the first states that's really loosened, like, or made things easier. So not as strict, I would
Mhm.
say. Like a bunch of different rules and regulations just came out and was like all over the news. But I'm not sure about other states. But I know in Europe it's pretty good. Sweden is like the only country right now that doesn't have any lockdowns, and a lot of people are dying.
Oh,
They
that's
have,
interesting. I mean, not
yeah, they
that
have,
in a bad way.
yeah, it's just everyone, it's like normal. They have nothing. So I'm not sure if they're allowed to leave the country, of course, but it's really, they're not doing it super well there. But here, so here it's a lot better compared to over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked to a gal who's in Denmark, who's originally from Spain, and she said in Denmark it's a lot better because they're slowly starting to open up things, but they've had everyone on lockdown and they just haven't had the
Mhm.
infection rate that Spain has had. And
Yeah,
Spain's been
Spain
hit
is,
really hard.
yeah, it's really bad in Spain right now. I have a friend from Salinas who lives there right now, and I think like last week or the other day they were finally allowed to go on walks and runs after 7 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
At least in her area, but that's really, really bad.
Yeah, and Madrid I know is hit really hard, and that's one of the largest populous cities. So
Yeah, it's really bad there. But yeah, so I feel like compared with the rate of cases and deaths, Germany has been oddly low and not as severe as other countries. But
mhm.
Italy, of course, has a higher population of old people.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, that's why they had more people dying.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, and then lower income people too, elderly and lower income. So it was just like a double whammy.
Yeah, what's nice in Germany is that every job has insurance. So if you're paid over a
What?
certain amount, yeah, I know, right?
What?
So if you're paid over a certain amount and you do a certain amount of hours, then you get insurance. So
Wow, that
yeah,
is.
I was shocked too. So a lot of people, um, they at least have insurance, and there's, I'm pretty sure there's like government assistance going on with certain jobs. But I think that's a part of why there's less deaths and people being treated because they have insurance.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all. That is
Yeah,
awesome that Germany
it
does that.
is. And I mean, it's not like where, oh, you have this job, that means you have this type of insurance. It's like you're a doctor or you work at McDonald's. It's pretty similar.
That's so nice. Yeah, the healthcare system. I mean, you grew up in the United States. It's a mess. Like it's
It
just
really is.
and
It is.
it's unfair to a lot of certain demographics, especially here in the United States. Like the people who are getting hit hardest have the lowest socioeconomic income and the less power to actually advocate for themselves.
Yeah.
That's cool that Germany does that. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
I remember a few years ago, there's been at least 1 million refugees from the Middle East and other countries that have come here, and I'm not sure what the rate is. Like, I don't know how insurance works for them,
Hmm.
but yeah, and they're not letting, unfortunately, any refugees in because of Corona,
Yeah,
but I think they're pretty good with assistance
that's
because of,
really cool.
yeah, my boyfriend's mom works at like a refugee shelter, and
Oh,
so they all at least have somewhere to stay.
oh, that,
So it's really quite the opposite in a lot of ways here, but I just find it really good that a lot of people still have insurance and jobs.
yeah. I mean, because yeah, insurance is a huge thing because a lot of people don't go to the doctors because they don't have insurance, and then we don't know the exact death rate or the how many people have actually been infected because a lot of people can't even get access to healthcare. So
Yeah.
that's wow, that's really cool. Um, so as far as learning, you have to spend a whole nother year. How is that gonna affect you?
So, due to health reasons, I've had to start late. So, in Germany, usually you can get a bachelor's degree in 3 years.
Okay.
So, my program would take 3.5 years. But so basically, it's like every foreigner has to have a certain amount of German.
Okay.
So, that's the reason I can't start because I don't have confidence and I don't have that level of German yet.
That kind of makes sense. I mean, I guess because you're
Yeah,
studying there, so that makes sense.
yeah.
But at the same time, a whole year,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a long time to wait. Are you thinking of doing anything in the meantime? Or-
Um, so I start my next class in October, but at the moment I'm not really sure what to do because everything's just kind of on pause right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking about it, maybe working when I can, but it's kind of upsetting in that way. And I think they had at least 5 weeks off of school, the kids.
Oh, wow.
So
That's a long
yeah,
time.
that also didn't help. And in Germany, it you like there's three different ending points, and there's like an option where you end at ninth grade or 10th grade, and then 12th or 13th grade or year. So it's kind
Oh,
of,
interesting.
yeah, it's kind of like if it's personalized to the child or the student. So there's like an exam that's kind of in the balance for the kids at the very last one.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like I can't really say about all three of them, but the exams for the upper grades have been kind of interfered with, of course.
Yeah, and that just affects everyone.
Yeah, and
Oh,
they were there a couple weeks ago. There was like a lot of debate over, oh, we have people scattered out between the rooms, and we have like teachers that aren't in the high risk age and everything. And I just thought, oh, it's too soon. So I am not sure how they're doing it now, but they're easing people back in.
oh, and so what about the universities? Are they just going to stay online?
The one I'm supposed to go to or was supposed to go to, they're doing online
Oh,
for the people that are already in a degree program.
but for people so they're not offering you any kind of substitute or anything to help you along the way, just to expedite
Um,
it?
it's kind of like because I have to take a placement exam, and so they don't want people to cheat online, and they want to see like the
Um,
ability. It's weird because I have to, everyone to take this course has to be placed in a certain level. So, which makes sense, of course, but it kind of makes it rough because if I already took the test, then I could already be going maybe.
yeah. Well, it's a bummer. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I think maybe it's for the best anyway. Everything's just super crazy right now as it is.
Yeah. And this way you'll be absolutely fluent and you'll ace your
Yeah.
exam.
Yep. And also, a huge motivating factor in this is that everyone taking the class is foreign, of course.
Okay.
So it's not just like English speakers or whatever. So I went to another school and it was not really based with any institution. It was just kind of with the city.
Hmm.
And they canceled this like a course, or my friend said that they canceled like all the courses for the foreseeable future, of course.
Wow.
So they don't know when they'll start again. And luckily it's a month by month basis. So it's like, oh, you pay for this month and then this month
Oh,
because you
that's
like
nice.
go level to level.
Yeah.
But I feel so bad for them because all the people that I knew in this class were the last level. So, because I kind of mixed mine around for
Mhm.
just a lot of reasons. So I was luckily done, but they were on the last level. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that so that they're that much far behind.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand because in those classes, I counted the other day, I've met people from over 50 countries,
That's
so
exciting.
which is super cool, but that also raises the risk. But
Extremely.
I knew someone from China in my last class,
Mhm.
and people were racist to her. This was back in January or February, and she
That's,
was verbally assaulted in public transportation. They were yelling horrible things, and she was
no,
nearly crying. So the
that
effects,
makes me upset. Yeah, that's not
it made me
okay.
really upset.
Mm.
She's the sweetest thing, and people were just horrible. So
Yeah, and it's what people don't fail to separate, like there's citizens and then there's government. Like you cannot
mhm,
you can be mad at a government, but you can't be mad at the individual people because they have nothing to do with it.
exactly,
Like they're good
and
people.
yeah, and she hadn't even been in China for over a year. It just because she was Chinese. So
Oh, that's sad. I know that there's, my mom had said, she lives in more Northern California, and she had said that there's a little bit of racism starting to pop up, and that really upset her, and that she's, reminding people, don't be mad at people. If you're
yep,
upset at the government, that's fine, whatever, but don't be mad at the individual. They had nothing to do with it. Like,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
yeah, that's sad. Um, had, have you seen that at all anywhere else in Germany, or is that just is an isolated event?
Um, I would say, like, in all, there's, of course, a lot of racist people anywhere. And here, I would say a lot of people probably associate Germany, of course, with Nazi Germany, but it's a very diverse country.
Yeah,
So a lot of people might be in the wrong mindset. So there's a lot of people, and I've never encountered any racism. I've never seen anything here because I'm in Nuremberg, and like a quarter of our population is immigrant.
yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah, and
oh,
that's
go
good.
ahead.
No, I was
Yeah.
gonna say that's good that it's not. It was more of an isolated event, that it's not seeming to
Yeah.
be like a pattern that happens in some other countries.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, so you're gonna be not in school for a year. How about your partner, your boyfriend? Is he in college? Is that
Um,
affecting studies?
yeah. Well, with my studies, I technically don't start my bachelor's program until October
Mhm.
of 2021, and then I start language again in October. So, but it's kind of a weird thing in my situation. So in Germany, they have things called like an Ausbildung, which is like a vocational training. And so it's not technically college, but it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So it's
like
kind of like he learns what he wants to do. So he's going into IT, and before he starts that, he's working right now. He's been working at home, and they're going to slowly put people back in their office. So, like starting the
interesting.
18th.
Well, that's
But yeah, he just finished his first week. So, he works for a few months and then will start his education. But they put off work for a month. So, he was supposed to work supposed to start work a month ago, and then they put that off. But it doesn't affect his education or anything.
Oh, that's nice. So it just
Yeah,
kind of keeps going along. They're just postponed for a month. So
yeah,
so he's in a better situation and
yeah,
you kind
for
of got
sure.
screwed.
Yeah.
Um, so how do you foresee online learning going since it's kind of been postponed now? Do you think that it'll be advantageous? There's some benefits, or do you just think you'd rather have class in person?
In my case, I think, of course, having the placement test in person is better. So there's no like cheating or anything,
Yeah.
which can happen with a lot of things, but I think in this case it's good. And also with the time, because it's supposed to be like a 3.5 hour duration of a test. So basically, I think also timing is involved with that. And so I find it as an advantage to start later, but I think online learning is okay. And luckily here, you don't really pay tuition. So, yeah, so it's not
I
like,
need to move to Germany.
I know, right? It's super cool. So it's like people aren't really losing out on financial stuff either. They're not really paying for classes.
Wow, that is
So,
totally different from here.
yeah, it's really different. Yeah. So it's they just continue with online learning as if they're in the classroom without really having to worry about paying. And also students get insurance with their study. I know, right? They get insurance with their studies, and so they should still be covered in this time. And it's just really, really good for them. So they have it okay, I'd say, for sure.
Yeah, I'd say in comparison to other students, especially, I mean, even at CSUMB, like there's a lot of students who had to move. And I know there's one gal in our forensic anthropology class, and she had taken out a substantial loan to be
Oh,
on
wow.
campus and is not sure if the classes are in her major definitely requires in-class learning.
Oh,
Um,
wow, yeah.
and so she's just unsure of what to do. And I'm like, that's horrible to be in that situation.
Yeah, it's a lot different here too. I mean, the government also can assist with education, and I mean, my boyfriend's thing, he's actually getting paid. So it's like paid learning. So I think his last 3 years, and so he'll be paid a certain amount per month, and then for the first year, and then it gets higher and higher.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
it's
that's so nice.
yeah, and he gets insurance, so it's
What
it's
is the
super
United
nice.
States doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's in this situation for sure. Germany has a lot of advantages, and then also parents get money every month from the government. So translated, it's children's money. And so per child, parents receive a certain amount per month. And I think that's also really good in the case of people who can't work at the moment.
Yeah.
I I'm not sure. I think compared like I said in California's case, I feel like they're doing better things over there, and I like how they're doing online learning instead of halting everything
Yeah.
for multiple weeks. So I find that a huge advantage. And I think over here, education is also already a huge deal and something that everyone doesn't really think of as a privilege, but it is, if
Hmm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
It
yeah.
definitely is.
um, so I think here with education in particular, I don't like how they're putting people back in, and I don't like how they halted everything in a lot of cases, but I think they're doing really well. Like the students get more out of it, I'd say, than over in the States.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard, I think, with digital learning because there is a component that's missed, especially in labs.
Yeah, I think so. So, but yeah, so in Germany it's I would say it's pretty good. But I mean also in that case with labs, like my boyfriend's brother is studying like biology in medicine. It's kind of hard to explain, but all of his stuff is halted too. all of it is stopped. He can't go in the lab, and so that puts him further back, of course.
Yeah,
So I think, yeah, in some degrees, I would say, like, some majors, I mean, for sure, they're taking a hit.
yeah, I could see that. One of my friends is going to UC Davis, and she's studying molecular anthropology, and so she is supposed to be. She's doing a lot of computational work now, just because obviously that's what online lends
Yeah.
itself to. But
No.
um, she she's not sure if she's going to have to postpone graduation because a lot of her classes next quarter will be all lab classes, and same with her other classmates who are archaeology majors. And
Yeah.
so they're not sure if they're going to have to postpone or what they're going to have to do, because you can't translate that learning into online learning.
Yeah. So yeah, I get that, and that's, I would say, really frustrating everywhere. Um, but what's also nice in Germany is that for a major, you don't have to take classes that aren't related, if that makes sense. So that's why it's done in 3 years, because it's like you don't have to take art if you want to be a science major or whatever.
Oh, that's
So yeah, it's really nice in that way. And so I think over here, if people are put off a little bit, it's not as bad because they have everything they need.
yeah, they're taken care of, and so they're not, unemployed,
Yep.
uninsured,
Yeah,
in
exactly.
debt 5 grand into their university,
Yep.
and things like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. I need to come to Germany.
Yeah, a lot of Europe is pretty good. And I mean, our healthcare over here isn't even technically like universal. Like in the UK, they have the NHS. I don't know if you know what that is.
The
And
national health, yeah.
that's, yeah, it's basically free for everyone unless you go private. But yeah, so here in Europe, it's good in several countries. So yeah, I would say we're pretty good in many ways, but I think California is doing the lockdown aspect better.
Yeah, and especially for certain cities like, well, the Bay, um,
Yeah.
just because it's so densely populated. And I know some counties are starting to or try to open up, and the governor was like, "Yeah, no, you can do that, but you're going to have a huge infection rate, and don't come crying to us when it happens." Basically, like, take
Yeah.
the precautions.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't understand the protesters in Long Beach and other areas, but I think it's just
Oh,
because they're more affluent and don't
I
have
think
to
so.
worry about certain
I think
things.
so. Yeah, I don't get it. Just seeing all of the protests and everything. It's happened here too, but I would say in the States, it's of course more prevalent. So I think there's only been a few, or not many major protests over here.
And that makes sense, because if you're taken care of, and you're able to get health insurance, and you still have a monthly income coming in, then you shouldn't be complaining too
Yeah,
much.
exactly.
Just ride it out.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Awesome interviewing you.
Yeah.